What secrets are you hiding from your parents? They have no idea I'm adopted. I'm waiting until they are older to break it to them. I'm not trying to hide it, but I'm not going to just tell them out of nowhere, but I used to skip like half my classes my senior year of high school and slept in a secret room in the school. Fun fact, that secret room had a lot of our rival school's old trophies in it. I spent a whole day one time going through them. My mother cooks a turkey so dry it could be a Middle Eastern state. Oh wait, I've already told her that. Thank goodness I got to spend American Turkey Day with my professional chef brother-in-law. It was so good. That I refused to date boys until she stopped putting such a high value on my virginity. She flat out says a woman is worthless once she loses it. So guess what, itch? Not grandkids until you leave me the duck alone and let me go be a normal 21-year-old that isn't ashamed of even being in a room alone with someone. My mother is incredibly militant. We never use the big light in the front room. We must only ever use lamps. To the point where she took the bulb out of it and for years we haven't had one in there. Well, last time they went away on holiday I put a bulb in there and she still hasn't noticed. I never use a big light. But I could. My mom does this thing where she remembers my youth way different than it happened. Mostly to protect her psyche, I think. So really I don't hide anything from her so much as I don't confront her with the awful reality of it all. How many emotional problems she saddled me with. How unprepared for life she left me. I mean, don't get me wrong. I want to. But I just don't see what good it'll do. That I have a lot of tattoos. As in my spine, back, sternum, both hips, both sides, and my leg. She has no idea and it's been 5 years. That I'm an atheist, living in the South. They're both extremely conservative, highly religious people. My dad has actually recently become a pastor. I was raised in church and sent to a private Christian school. It kills me to spend time with them because the only thing they seem to be able to talk about is church gossip. They're the kind of people that make personal choices like this about themselves. I don't think they have any idea. And if they were to ever find out, I don't think I would ever hear the end of how they believe that they failed as parents. I think they would just spend the rest of their lives trying to fix me. So, I just avoid speaking to them as much as possible. It's sad, really. How much I drink. They know I enjoy the occasional gin and tonic. They don't know that I drink it out of the bottle most days. This is going to sound really stupid, but I have always been hiding the fact that I do want a relationship family one day. It started out with being young and finding that kind of stuff awkward, so I never showed any interest in boys. But now I'm in my early 20s. I still keep quiet about it because I don't want my mother to think that I'm sad about missing out on relationships. Because that would make her sad. I have always suffered from very severe social anxiety and depression for years. So I don't see myself ever having a relationship. I'd rather have her believe I'm immature asexual than for her to think I feel lonely and sad. It's the weirdest secret ever. I know. Then again, expressing my desire to become a crazy cat lady instead of having a family isn't that much of a lie. I just leave out the part that I wanna be a crazy cat lady with a family. That my now husband supported both of us completely while I was in med school. We were only dating 1 year when this arrangement started. We got married 2 weeks after graduation. My parents think I took out loans to cover rent, books, food, etc. But the husband and I had a serious conversation about it and he made enough money to support both of us without more loans. They'd be disappointed because they always wanted me to be independent. But it worked out in the end for us. I hide a lot of my childhood from my mother. She left when I was quite young and I didn't reconnect with her till I was in my late teens. A very long story short, my father was extremely abusive to the point of molestation. If I told my mother, it would destroy her, and she would never forgive herself. So instead, any old scars were accidents and a dark period of self-harm, which is still a bad thing but nowhere near the earth-shattering truth. What their Christmas presents are. I've hidden from my dad that I was a smoker. I have quit, but I still can't bear to tell him that I used to smoke. That I've thought about or tried to kill myself a lot in my late teens, early 20s, and that I still think about it, but the very idea of their heartbreak is the only thing keeping me alive. Pretty much everything. No contact for 16 years now. That means I have to strictly filter anything I let my grandparents know. Because my life and family details are not something I want them to let my parents know. Anyone raised by a narcissistic personality and an enabler will relate. Screwed me up enough time. You do not come near my kids. I'm not sure why, but I always hide the anime tab when they enter my room. Also self-harm. That I'm a whore at the inn who gets paid with mead. I keep meeting guys at board game events to see if they click. They're nice dudes and fun to hang out with. But I don't see relationship potential happening for several months, if at all. I wish I could tell my folks this. But every time I so much as hint at meeting a guy, my mom pounces on me with, is he cute, does he like you, do you like him, did you kiss? This is the same person who, when I was dating a guy a few years ago, asked if I was in love after the second date. Let's just totally forego having compatibility and common interests. Being just friends is always grounds for but there could be romance. She's so quick to pounce on the but do you like him? Train. And if I did end up dating these guys, the next question would be, so, when are you getting married? I don't respect either of them in the slightest, and I think they're some of the most passive, unthoughtful, closed-minded people I've ever seen. That I have stage 4 terminal breast cancer. I just turned 40 and am the youngest of their 3 children. My parents are in their late 70s, early 80s with plenty of their own health problems. Worrying about me would serve no purpose. Lying to them sucks though. I'm still dating the guy from Germany and I'm really in love with him. Also some trauma related it. That not only am I queer, but that I've been transitioning, MTF, for 6 months. Yes, mom. Those tight girly jeans are just Osside style now. My husband and I have been married a full year longer than they think. I told everyone that my phone was stolen. In reality I gave it, on a train, to a guy who wanted to make a phone call real quick. He did not return. I'm an idiot. That I dove off a 15-foot rock into only 3 feet of water and solid rock. I came out with only a mild headache and some cuts on my face. But mostly the damage was mental. Trying to understand how I could be so stupid and how close I was to paralysis or death. I think the rock I landed on was slanted, so I just slid across instead of landing perpendicular. My parents will never find out. I'm bisexual. Was bicurious in high school. My parents would disown me if they ever knew. Because they are very religious. They say the reason one of my uncles had colon cancer was because of his homosexuality. Only wife my and close friends know. When my kid grows up, I don't care what his orientation is. I'll support and love him no matter what. That I smoke. Smoked pot for a long time. Not anymore. Did some chemical drugs. Drink and have a 6 out of wedlock. The day she finds out is the day she disowns me. Even though I'm older than 21 and live in the US, I deny that I drink to my parents because they come from a conservative part generation of India where alcohol was absolutely illegal. It's just too much work to explain it and try to have them understand, then just keep lying. The last thing I kept from them was that I'm atheist, not because I was ashamed or anything, but rather because I really didn't feel like getting into that conversation with them. I'm too old for that. It's draining and none of their business anyway. But my boyfriend accidentally outed me during casual conversation a few years ago, so the cat's out of the bag now. We don't talk about it. My tail fetish. I hide that from everyone though. My mom told me I was too young to go to a concert and wouldn't let me see Nirvana. To this day every time they come up in the news, the most recent being what would have been Kurt Cobain's 50th, she mentions how bad she feels about making me miss that show, knowing now that there wouldn't be any other chances. This has been going on basically since he died, which was not long after the show. So either she legitimately doesn't know I went anyways while sleeping over my best friend's house, or she does know and has been low-key trolling me for 25 years. My parents think that I am perfectly normal kid, but I'm kinda dead inside. Anxiety and depression, both of which slowly eating me away. I refuse to tell my mum that I caused her and my dad to get a divorce. I love my mum dearly, but my dad was something straight out of the 1940s. He never used to let her go out. Detested the idea of both me and her working because women don't do that. Overtly racist and hit mum all the time when she tried to stand up for herself. My girlfriend at the time was into all the party drugs. So I asked her to buy me some heavy stuff from her dealer. No idea what it was. We were going on holiday in a few days. So just before we headed out, I put some of it in his case and left the rest in his nightstand. Was caught at the airport. Arrested. House got searched. So they found more of it. My mum comes clean about the abuse and breaks down during the questioning. Filed for divorce. Dad got jail time. Mum got custody of me. It did break her heart. But she found someone else. Not seen my dad for about 11 years now. Last I heard he was out. But other than that, I couldn't care less. My mum is so much happier. Went to study and is now a trainee vet. Her dream job my dad wouldn't let her do. Been a hardcore swinger for about 10 years. Not so much anymore but still partake occasionally with my wife. My parents are hardcore vegetarians and raised me to be one as well. Truth is I love meat. I'm vegetarian when I spend time with them. Otherwise I'm usually gobbling down steak and bacon. How many times I've been arrested since the last time. How much I used to deal. And lastly, not particularly hiding. Just haven't talked to them in years. Is that I was married for 3 years. And have been divorced for 3. I moved to China and lived there for 5 years to get a break from her. That was just far enough to not have to plane home for the holidays. She's in Atlanta. When I moved to California, I was just a few hours flight away and terribly guilted into going home. She even paid the tickets. I'm back in Atlanta again. Thought things would be different. I'm miserable. And now my husband just got an awesome job. She's 20 minutes away. I'd rather be in rural Europe or Papua New Guinea, away from her, than to be anywhere this close. She's a miserable, lonely, controlling woman that runs everyone out of her life. There, I said it. How much money I will make if I take this management job. She knows it's considerable but she doesn't know that it would double my current salary. She doesn't know that I really don't want it but I will apply for it anyway. That I'm severely depressed and have tried killing myself a handful of times. I've got very bad anxiety from my parents splitting up out of nowhere. Girlfriend has set up counseling and trying to get me to talk to someone instead of just drinking all my pain away like I have for the past 10 years. The only time I have a drink now is a glass of wine with dinner and having a beer at hockey. Without her support, I'd probably be 6 feet under right now. I am an atheist. I support the LGBTQ movement. Both my parents are anti-LGBTQ. I made way more money than I reported with the company last year. Dad. Also, I just found out this afternoon the reason why we were so broke when I was growing up. I resent my mother for not wanting to spend holidays with the family, because I'm her son. Of course I'm expected to spend the holidays with her and my direct family, but the entirety of my extended family throws a massive party for almost every major holiday that I haven't been able to ever go to because I get guilt tripped into spending the holidays with her. Bonus: my mother has convinced herself that my brother is gay and he lets her believe it because it gives him more freedom to smoke weed with his friends and hang out with girls. I'm not going back to college. I need to, but I'm not. This job market doesn't look good and I'm honestly worried it will be a waste of time. I was an A student the entire time, but they're broke and I'm broke and, though I know it disappoints them, I'm leaving their house to find my own life as soon as possible.